Okay. Welcome to Live Today. Chris and Jenni Graebe are joining me. They have a new book called The Rhythm of Us, and they are a special guest on our podcast. They'll be coming up later on. But today they just came. We're going to talk a little bit about things for the holidays and all that kind of stuff. Welcome, guys. Good to see you again.
Good to see
Hey.
you. Thanks for having us.
It's good. It's really good to see you. So we do talk about the book on the podcast. So as we're getting the Christmas season, how do you handle this busy, stressful time of Christmas? How does rhythm play into that? Do you stay in rhythm, or does the rhythm change with seasons? How does that play out?
Sugar, cookies,
Caffeine.
caffeine, sugar,
A lot.
The
cookies.
rhythm of
A lot.
coffee.
A lot of both, right?
A lot.
A
Yeah.
lot of Starbucks runs.
Yeah. No, we were just talking about this. I think it's such a balance that we have to find, right? Between getting everything done that is on our to-do list and slowing down enough to savor what the season is all about, and experience the best of it with our
Yeah.
family. But it can be really easy to fall into the trap of just racing all around town to get all the things done. I've been certainly guilty of that this week. This week, if you did not know, historically is the busiest weeks for moms on the planet this week.
Wow.
Because everything is due. There's Christmas programs and teacher gifts and end of year. It is just the marathon of marathons for moms. And so we can very easily fall into the trap of racing all over to get everything
Oh,
done.
yeah.
But God has just been sweetly reminding me this week of just the power of the practice of slowing, of just slowing down. It's all going to get done. Chris is so good at reminding me. He has probably said that to me at least once every day this week. It's all going to get done. We're going to get there. You're good. Slow down and just enjoy the season.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the busiest week for moms. I don't know what you'd call it for husbands and dads. It's like,
Well,
like
Tried
just
to calm
keep,
mom down.
yeah, it's
Yes.
just stay together, keep it all duct taped, everybody relax. But I think something, if we all know it, right? It's for years it kind of jumps on you and go, what's happening? It's like, okay, we know this is coming. And I think that's the biggest piece for people to go like, okay, like if we've been, maybe this is our first year or second year of marriage or whatever, but if you've been in this thing like us, 18 going on 20 years of marriage, you go, and with 5 kids in our world, you go, okay,
Yes.
we know what's coming. And, we, have inflicted so much fun pain in our life. We're moving in a couple of days on top of it and all the things. But I think if we can work together as a team, leverage each other's strengths, understand what's so important, and if one of us is maybe out of line because we're just moving so fast and our motives are wrong, we want to make sure this person's happy or that's happening, and we've got all these things over here, just kind of bringing perspective. And even really one of the things we love to do is just have some, and we'll talk about this I think in a second, but just some check-ins, just kind of a couple check-ins a day, like hey, how are we doing? What's the plan? Like, where are we going? Are we on schedule? Are we off schedule? What needs to shift and change? And so as far as rhythms go, I think we just, as long as you're cognizant and know what it is, because it's this weird thing, it's like all of a sudden you pull this e-brake and it's done. It's like it all just grinds to a halt. There's no more classes. Everyone's sleeping in. You can drink your coffee in peace in the morning. Everyone's just relaxing. There's rest, but the lead up to it can be wild and insane. And, words and things can be said and actions can happen that you just go, okay, whoops. So I think stress is there. We just need to make sure we understand what's coming and then plan as best we can.
Yeah, I love what you said about the moms, and I really hadn't thought about that, Jenni, but yes, it makes complete sense. So to the other moms, is there anything that you ever say, I'm going to take off of the calendar, or do you just kind of say, how do we best do this and get the things done that I feel like we need to get done?
Yeah, I think, as much as possible, if there are things that you can take off of your plate that week or that month leading up to the holiday break, by all means do it. I think the hard part is that, we have 5 kids. So, there's a lot of teacher gifts and activities and programs. And no matter how you slice it, if you are in the throes of family life, this is going to be a busy week, So I think just relying on each other and encouraging each other. And, like we said earlier, like really working with your spouse, knowing, okay, like checking in ahead of time and going, all right, this is going to be a busy week for me. And, it's been great. Chris is like, okay, where can I take some stress off your plate? Can I do this? Can I take the kids to the gym so that you can get these things done? However we can work together as a team is really important. If you have moms in your life, buy them a cup of coffee this week or just send them a text of encouragement that you're praying for them and that they've got this and that rest is on the horizon.
Yeah. One of the things I would say is, my wife is blessed with the gift of perfectionism.
Yeah.
But what I've seen is over the years, sometimes we've come to this place to go, you know what? Like, I maybe missed that thing last year and the world didn't end.
Yeah.
So then it can be like, okay, maybe the Christmas cards come out in February or whatever it is,
or not at all, and it's okay.
And it's okay. Or maybe the janitor doesn't get the Christmas cookies, but the teachers do. And so I think there's a place of like, take the pressure off. The heart is good as long as your heart is good and you're trying to do the right thing. And that's what I think I've seen for her is like when she goes, okay, perfection in this world is unattainable. I have a goal set, but I'm going to try and reach it. And if I come close to it, then great. I feel good about it. And I'm not worried about the opinions of others on the other side. I know my heart in this. I know why I'm doing it. So I would say as a husband looking in for the moms that are scrambling is just to go, hey, if maybe you don't get to the one thing you want to do, that's okay.
Yeah.
But it's the heart that matters.
Yeah, I think, and I was think of a lady I recently talked to, and she just talked about, all that stuff. I think they have 34 kids. And she said, yeah. And so I do my housework at 1 a.m. and I'm thinking, it's okay if your house is a little bit dirty.
Yeah.
I want to say it gently and lovingly, but give herself the grace to just say, no, all this doesn't have to be perfect, because those, I think, are some of the things that probably nobody notices, because knowing her, like probably with you, Jenni, house is going to be nice all the time. And so, if there's a spot, nobody's going to notice it but you.
Right.
And just kind of giving yourself some grace not to do so. Or maybe you don't spend the time fixing a certain meal all the time, or just to find that, maybe prioritize the things like you don't want to miss kids programs. I mean, all that kind of stuff. I mean, those things that are important to you and the kids. But are there other things that we can kind of let go of and give ourselves some grace just to have that time, like you were saying, just to really what's going on in this season and how does God want me to celebrate it this year? And things like that sometimes, because I know I've done it in the past, think that fall, I'll think this Christmas is going to be so different. I'm going to take time to do this, this, and this. And then, New Year's Eve comes and I think, well, maybe next year I'll do that, And so I think it's just being purposeful about it. And I love what you said about the way to support each other in that. And I think sometimes it's when Chris can give you some grace and say, hey, you can let that go. It's okay.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes that helps with giving yourself permission, maybe.
Absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely something that I think the more we're a team in this, the better it is for us and probably our kids. Because, when it gets to Christmas and the kids are all excited and you can't even pull yourself out of bed and you're telling them you've got to stay in bed till 5 and they're up at 2, or,
exactly.
All those kind of things. So what about, so we talk about the busyness and the mom stuff. What about marriage during this season? How do you nurture your marriage to this? Do you set it aside? What do you do with your marriage during the season?
Well, something that we try and do, we talk about this in the book, is have kind of those touch points that Chris talked about with each other throughout our week, that we know in the morning, most mornings, we're going to be sitting in these gray chairs over here with our coffee, having some kind of conversation and check in with each other. We can talk about whatever's on our heart, what God's showing us. We can ask about each other's worlds and weeks, weeks and things that we have going on. And then at the end of the day, we also try and do a check-in. We pray together. We talk about the day, what went wrong, what went right, what we can give thanks for, what maybe we need to change to bring with us into the next day to make different. So I think those two checkpoints for us are so important. I know that they're there. I know that we're going to at least have, those 2 points within our day to connect with each other, even during busy weeks like this one. I know I'm going to see you in the morning and I'm going to see you at night, and we're going to connect in those places. And that we just make that a priority.
Yeah, I mean, and just so everybody watching knows that doesn't mean it's hours long. Like it could be like,
it could be
all right,
30
all right,
minutes.
everyone, the door's shut, kids.
Yeah.
Like, I know you can see us through the glass. Like, what are you guys doing in there?
Right. Okay.
We are talking. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the longer you stand there, the longer I'm going to sit in this chair with your mom, because we can't talk about what we need to talk about. So I think it's just like, hey, how you doing? Get a good cup of coffee. Let's sit down. Let's connect. So it could be a couple minutes. It could be 30 minutes, but I think we kind of are constantly assessing. And the thing I would say is just going into a week like this, and I know what stresses her out. She knows what stresses me out. We kind of can look on the horizon and do a little bit of projecting, and also kind of readjust our expectations of each other, where it's like, okay, look, like if, we're going to have a busy week. So it's going to be like, what we might only get is the time where we're just sitting talking. We may not get to go on a date night or, spend some quality time. Like, we just have to go, okay, I understand what's coming. And if I can see around the corner that I know that is coming, these things that are important to me and our marriage, it doesn't mean that our marriage is falling apart. It just means we have a really busy week, and it's going to take every single ounce of us to work together as a team. and sometimes it's not necessarily on same things. It's separate. It's a divide and conquer side of things, but we know that we're going to come back around and shore it up on the backside.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think I love what you guys said about her, or you're saying, Jenny, but you guys have these times built in. I think if we go into a week like this and you just say, hey, we got to connect sometime, it probably ain't going to happen.
Right.
And so to say, okay, when couples listening to this, okay, we need to find a time every day that we know we're going to set aside to do this. And I love that Chris said it doesn't have to be forever. I mean, it doesn't have to be, it can be a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes if you have it, but just make sure you're doing that. And I just think it helps. I think for most couples, you can't go unconnected for very many days in a row without affecting you. It just
For sure.
no matter how good your marriage is. I mean, it's with us. We've been married 53 years. And, if we don't connect for a few days, we both feel it, one of us will say, hey, what is going on here? We are just not connect, and you just have to continue to do that and be intentional about it. And I think too, it is a season, and realize, okay, January comes and things slow down, hopefully, and all that kind of stuff. But just to how do we best get through this and not just survive it, but to really thrive and look back and say, wow, that was a really cool Christmas season this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So other ideas of how do you enjoy other things besides the school stuff with the kids and enjoy the season together? Is there anything special that you and Chris do that you do with the kids, or that just things that you're trying to do during this season to slow down and really focus on what this season's all about?
Yeah, I think that I think there's two things that come to mind for me. There are things that we have planned for sure. There's intentional traditions that we have and things that we like to do together and then with our family. And then there's also kind of cultivating this rhythm of taking the moments as they come, right? It has to be both, because not every moment can be planned. We also, especially busy weeks like this that we're talking about, we have to say yes to those opportunities when they come to us. And so, if all of a sudden we look up and we're like, oh, we have 30 minutes free, or we have an hour free that we weren't thinking that we would, what can we do? We can take the kids in the backyard and jump on the trampoline. We can, let them lead us. One of the greatest ways I have found to let myself slow down is to let my kids lead me into the world with fresh eyes of awe and wonder. I mean, they are just one of the most sacred practices we can do, is let ourselves be led by a little kid. I mean, they just pull you on the floor and they bring you into the world that they are creating, whether it's Legos or, a pretend batch of cookies or a tea party. I mean, it is just incredible to get on their level and just join in the world that they are creating. So that's one of my favorite ways to slow down in this season, is just, if I have 30 minutes, I let my kids be in charge and they get to call the shots on what we do. And it is always one of my favorite parts of the day.
That's so cool. Kind of reminds me of the way Jesus was with children. I
Right.
wish we had more written about that, because I could see him doing almost the same thing.
Yeah.
Just getting down with them and enjoying them, because he cherished kids. We know that for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. Chris?
Oh, okay. I'm supposed to say something wise here. No, I mean, I think it really is. I think it goes back to the awareness, right? Like I'm gonna keep coming back to reading the room, reading the moment, reading the day. Even sometimes in these fully stressed out seasons, it's like, oh, what do I have? And not trying to pull I know she's trying to accomplish something, and I'm like, hey, you wanna go leave and have some fun? I got a box that needs to be checked. And if this box can be checked, my brain
Then I
can go
can,
into a
yeah.
different place, and my
That's
head
right.
and my heart can be. And so I think just one of the biggest things for us is where, there's not going to be able to, it's not like, oh, cool, there's every Tuesday or Thursday, the kids are all gone and we have this sacred time together. We just know it's not going to happen. So it's like, try not to, my thing is like, just try not to keep regularly scheduled things in place that we just know aren't going to be able to happen, and being okay with it, reading the room. And then also for us, it's just, just seeing what she needs and trying to adapt to it. Like she said, I mean, one of the biggest gifts any dad or husband can do right now is going, you know what? I'm going to grab these 3 or 4 or 5 or a million children, however many you have. We're just the crazy ones with 5. And I'm going to go. We're going to go somewhere else, just so that there can be peace and quiet and all the things. And so I just, that's a way, but it's a way for us for her to go, man, he sees me. He sees what I'm walking through. He understands how I'm feeling right now. And so I think just reading the room, watching, and then just like the kids are going to have spontaneous moments that you can let them lead you. The same thing can happen with us as well, because there will be times when maybe she does have a big box that she needs to check, and I go, hey, we're going to do this in a couple hours. And she may go, I don't see how we're going to do it. I don't know how it's going to happen. It's just no way we could do it. It's just, there's too much to do or whatever. And then we get there. She's like, I'm so glad that we did this. Like, thank you
Slowing down.
for kind of pulling me out, even if it's for an hour or 30 minutes, because I really, really needed this. And I didn't know I had this in my mind. I've been thinking about it while I'm doing all the things. And so I don't know. I think it's just work. It's just that teamwork thing just keeps coming back.
Yeah, that is so good. And I think too, as husbands, I love the way you put it, reading the room. Okay, how can I come alongside her? How can I help her? Because, some women I think are pretty good about asking for help, and some women just aren't. And so I think as husbands, if we can be, okay, what can I do? Because there's things that we're not going to do as good as they do, or that they really are the ones who need to be doing. But there's other things that they do that we can certainly help them with. And just being conscious of that, that's got to mean a lot, Jenny, when Chris comes up with something like that, and just, oh my gosh.
It does. It absolutely does. And I would say one more thing about that. One thing that is a big value for us in our family is speaking life. We talk a lot about that in the book.
Yes.
But it's something that Chris is so good at. And one of the ways that he has really blessed me during this busy season is, just the other day, I was working on presents for the kids, and he just stopped and said, hey, thank you. Like, just in case you didn't know, like, you are an amazing mom and all of this matters. Like, I can't believe you're putting this much heart and this much thought into the gifts that you're getting for our kids and our family. Like, that means so much. I'm so glad I married you. I'm so glad you're the mom of my kids. And just hugged me. And it just meant the world to me. I mean, just a little word of encouragement, just a thank you can be the wind in our sails to get us to keep going and accomplish all that we need to. So I think that's so important as well.
Absolutely. Superstar husband. That was awesome.
Superstar.
I know, it's funny. You talk about asking for help. I think, here we are, 18, we're not in the 50 years of our marriage. So, but we're still always learning and growing. But it'll
Yeah.
be funny in these seasons, you know, for Jenny, for the longest time, you talk about asking for help. I think we both smiled on that because, you know, she's a very independent person, can get things done on her own, you know,
Yep.
but as we work together as a team, or early on, she'd be like, "Hey, did you want to do the dishes?" And I'm like, "No,
I
nope,
don't want
I do
to.
not want to do the dishes."
Waiting for that, right?
I was like, it'd be better if you just say, "Hey, babe, I need you to do the dishes." Like, you got it. I'll do
Yeah.
those dishes, you know. But
Yeah.
it's just a mindset. I think everyone wants to, but I think as trust gets built over the years, it can be like, yeah, you know what, like, and hopefully there's an anticipatory thing where I can see, like, I don't even need her to ask me that because I see what's coming and
Yeah.
I see the dishes need to be done. And somebody's got to do them. And shocker, the 7-year-old's not running to make it happen.
No.
So
No.
somebody's got to do it, and there's 2 adults in the room, so one's doing a lot of other things, so that this one needs to get
Yeah.
going. So it's just, again, it's all about teamwork and seeing what's around and understanding what they need in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, and yeah, again, just working together. And, you know, what you said to Jenny, I mean, that didn't take a lot of effort, but I just, the way she talked about it and if the response you saw in her, I mean, wow, that's so cool. I mean, it just sometimes it's just the little things. We think sometimes as guys, oh, we got to do something big, or, you know, I'll go buy her whatever. But sometimes it's that taking that time and being intentional about saying those words and just of appreciation. And that's got to mean a lot. Kind of, I would
It
guess it
does.
energizes you a little bit too. It's like, oh man,
Absolutely. Just a thank you. I mean, it's just amazing.
yeah, that's good. Nancy's taught me that over the years. She, from the time we started dating, always said thank you for everything. Things that I think, why are you thanking me for that? You know, but if it's a little thing, she'll thank me for getting a crossword puzzle out, or doing some little thing. And so I've learned to do that back, and it just means a lot when you do
Yes.
that to each other.
Mhm.
Yeah, you
Appreciate
can't,
it.
you know, it's funny, you just can't you can't be around a person, this is in any part of our life, where someone is constantly saying those sorts of things, and you start to want, like you said, Kim, where you're going, why do you keep saying that? But eventually you're like,
It's
it's
contagious.
contagious.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out of you,
Yes,
right?
it
I mean,
is.
you can't not sit there and go. It's like, you know, the other day I was like, I was so tired, and like she's just over here crushing it, doing stuff at the house. I'm like, you're making it really hard for me to sit here on this couch while you're doing all this stuff. I was like, I'm feeling, so it's like, all right, well, get up, dude. Think about it. Get up and help, brother. So I think that's the same thing with our words. Is like, if one of you in your marriage is really good with words, you know, eventually it's going to rub off and it's contagious, and that's
Absolutely.
the cool part.
Absolutely. That's so good. Okay. So Christmas is, what are we, 10? I don't know how, it's getting close. So what do you look forward to for Christmas for the two of you, or family, or individually?
Um, yeah, I think just for me, I am really looking forward to school getting out and having all of my people home under the same roof,
Mhm.
relaxing, resting, all the things. I think that's part of probably the joy that comes after the break for us is that, all this work that we do really does make the break sweeter because we're so looking forward to it. When it finally happens, it's just amazing. So yeah, I think just being together, just having
Mm,
everybody home, sleeping in,
yeah.
relaxing. I mean, I feel like it brings out the best in all of us when we're able to just take a little break from all the responsibilities to celebrate Jesus together. It's just the best. So I'm looking forward to the rest for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, for me, Christmas was never real. Jenny's been so good at implementing traditions. She's like, "What traditions did you have growing up?" I'm like, I would breathe and be alive every year on the 25th of December, and there'd be some boxes that I would open, you know, here and there. And so, like, it just wasn't the tradition factor wasn't something in me. And so, Christmas would come around, and I'm not a great gift giver, and it'd be like I found it would just be like this weird. She's like, "Are you all right? What's going on with you?" And so, what for me is through the years, I really have come to enjoy that day, right? Understanding what it's for, what it's about Christ, and helping our kids see it,
Mhm.
and embracing the idea that, it's okay to give our kids gifts, and it's okay to celebrate that day, and whatever it is. So it's just, for me, I'm still on a journey of just going like, wow, like, okay, like, take it in. Like, I have 5 beautiful kids, amazing, healthy kids. I have this beautiful woman right here that has said yes to me every day for over 18 years now. And so, I think sometimes sometimes people get a little weirded out around holidays because maybe they didn't know how to, experience it, and didn't get to see a good example of what that looked like growing up. And so for those who are watching here, I think it's okay to know that that's a thing, but it's not okay to stay in it. So it's time to go, okay, Lord, what are you trying to show me? How can I understand this heart of gratitude and generosity, and celebrating my family and the health of what we have, and maybe what I didn't experience and see, but here's what I'm seeing now. Here's what I'm trying to craft for my kids, and it be every year is an opportunity to grow in that, and grow closer to Christ, and grow closer to the heart of God, and what that day is
Mm.
all about. So for me, I think that's a journey that I've been on when it comes to Christmas.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so good. That's so good. Guys, the book is awesome. It's The Rhythm of Us, and you can get it everywhere. Chris and Jenny, love you guys. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Enjoy Christmas with your kids. It's got to be a special time for you.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much. This
Thank
was
you.
such an honor.
Thank you.